listening to Combat Sports UK.
Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. Me and Dan have made it out of our basement. We have met up here at UFC London, outside the O2, 141. We're going to do our pick show here, the one that we usually do. We're a bit late, so this is going to be our final picks the day before the event. We're going to kick off with the main card, Nathaniel Wood taking on the French Pirate, Morgan Charrier. I'll let you kick us off, Dan, with this one.
I think this is going to be, it's got to be fight of the night. I think it's one of the best fights on the card. It's so well matched. Both men are 20 pro wins, 6 defeats for Nathaniel Wood, only 10 defeats for Charrier, but records in MMA, they don't mean anything. That Charrier is one of the best fighters that was outside the UFC. It was one of the best things. They did bring him from Cage Warriors across, and since he's joined, he's been really impressive. Now, the defeat to Mariscal, I think, is really unfortunate. I think he actually won that fight. So I think he's in some real rich form when he comes here to the O2, which he's fought before, of course, in Cage Warriors. I think he's going to be really up for it. I think Nathaniel Wood's in some great form. He's looked amazing since moving to featherweight, but I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to upset the UK fans here. I think Charrier may pip it on a decision. I'd love to see it back and forth fight for 3 rounds, but I think Charrier does get the job done. It's going to be a decision.
Fair play to you for going against the UK fans. We're trying to keep this as non-biased as possible. If you watch this channel, you know me and Dan loves a bit of biasness. We love backing the UK men. We're going to not try and do it here, but I am backing the UK man. I'm going to go for a Nathaniel Wood decision here. I think his boxing is going to be too slick. I think he's going to be too good, and I think he gets a decision. This is a great fight. The London fans are used to seeing both these guys fight here at the O2, so it's one that I'm really looking forward to. As Dan said, it could be fight of the night. Moving on up the card then, we've got the Scottish man, Chris Duncan, taking on Jordan Vacenik. Jordan Vacenik, another Cage Warriors prodigy, obviously unbelievable career he had in Cage Warriors since moving to the UFC. Of course, he had to defeat the Guram in his first fight. He was very unlucky. There's some guys think he took that fight. Personally, I don't think he did. I think the decision was correct, but it was very close. A very respectable performance against a very respectable opponent in Guram, who of course is also on this card. I'll kick us off with this one, Dan. I'm going to go for a Chris Duncan win. I'm going to upset the English fans here. I think the Scottish man gets it done. I think this pick's going to be sort of against the grain, but I think Chris Duncan, I think he's durable enough to sort of see through the strikes of Jordan Vacenik. I think Vacenik maybe takes the first round. Chris Duncan maybe takes rounds 2 and 3, and I think he gets the hand raise. This is my pick for fight tonight. I think this is going to be a banger.
Yeah, it's another fight that is well up there for fight of the night. I just think Wood Charrier has got all the makings for that bonus. So I think there could be a bonus in this fight, but I think it may go to Jordan Vacenik. I think he does going to get the win here. Chris Duncan, I think everyone's been saying it. He's always been in great fights, but he has been a bit reckless. That may be something that costs him in this fight. Jordan Vacenik, before that debut against Guram Kutateladze, 4 wins in a row, 4 submissions in a row in Cage Warriors. He was looking unbelievable. It was inevitable he was going to join the UFC. Of course, it was a short notice opportunity. He took it. He grabbed it with both hands. I thought the performance itself was so good. Taking a round off Kutateladze, a lot of people thought maybe he won that fight. I agree with you. I do think it was the right decision. But yeah, I think Jordan Vacenik is really going to make a statement here. I think he could pick up a submission, and it could be looking as the very first round. Round 1 submission, Jordan Vacenik.
That's an out there pick as well. That is an out there pick. Meatball Molly, of course, she had an opponent change. It's going to be a tough one for her. Does she get the nod here tomorrow night, Dan?
I think, not to be graphic, but I think she's been shafted by the UFC here. I think the original opponent, Estela Nunes, was made for Molly to get a big win in the O2, possibly a 3rd spinning elbow, something like that. But the switcher of the opponents, I think, has really done her in. I think Thainara coming in 11-1, 9 wins by finish.
That Contender Series one was good, wasn't it? 6
submissions. I mean, the Contender Series, it was a decision, but the dominance in there, the trips, the grappling was so impressive. For Molly, look, it's all about experience. She's an experienced veteran in this game here at the UFC. Thainara, her debut now under the lights. One in Contender Series. The UFC is a completely different stage to that. I think with the UK fans behind her, Molly can always turn up and pick up a win. The fight's going to be a great one to watch. Molly's always entertaining, even if she does, unfortunately, taste defeat, which I feel she may do in this fight. I'm going to, unfortunately, go for a submission win for the Brazilian Thainara. I'm thinking probably late on 3rd round I got. for yourself?
I 100% agree. Molly has been absolutely shafted. The whole talk sort of coming into this one was that our original opponent, there was words thrown around such as can.
Yeah.
No UFC fighters are cans, but when you look at their record, it wasn't great. Our opponent now, obviously that win in the Contender Series, very, very dangerous Brazilian. I think she gets the decision win, to be honest. As much as I hate to see it, there's nothing I would love more than to see Meatball Molly getting the hand raised tomorrow night and try and get a bit of momentum behind her again. But it's going to be a really, really tough fight for her, so I think she loses by decision. Moving on up the card then, Gunnar Nelson is back in London again. This man loves fighting in London. He has taken on someone that apparently hasn't been too happy over the course of fight week and isn't enjoying London, Kevin Holland. Of course, he fought just last month, 6 weeks ago, was it, Kevin Holland?
It was January, I think. It was January. 311, I think it was, yeah.
311 he fought at. He wants to fight 4 or 5 times this year, and he's definitely going the right way about it. I'll kick us off with this pick. I think Gunnar Nelson gets it done. I think he subs Kevin Holland in round 3. Gunnar Nelson loves the London crowd. It's a short trip for him over from Iceland. I think he gets the job done here. Kevin Holland, I don't know. I'm not going to say Kevin Holland's not interested, but his attitude really has stunk in some interviews, and the way he sort of talks about it over the past while isn't the most inspiring. I think he gets beat. I think Gunnar Nelson's going to come here and show up for all of the people. His massive gym that he has over there in Iceland, I think he comes over and he does them proud, and he gets an armbar. I'm going to go for a signature armbar in round 3.
Very nice. I think I agree with you. Gunnar Nelson, he's always here for these London cards. I think I saw his shed around the back of the O2 where he stays for the week. But yeah, Gunnar Nelson, I think he's 2 years out the cage now. I think it was March 23 we last saw him. Again, it was a card where he performed and picked up a submission. I can see him doing the same thing here. I completely agree with you. Kevin Holland does not seem interested, whether that's to do with the weather that's normally over here in the UK, or whether he's just didn't like his flight over. I think Kevin Holland doesn't really want to be here. But it's something we've seen with his career now. He's 1-4 in his last 5. This is a man back in, I believe, 2020, had that sublime year, 5 wins.
Yeah.
He was nominated for
Fighter of the Year.
It was a great year for Kevin Holland. But I think now you're looking at a record of 26-13. That's a man that doesn't mind losing. Not that it doesn't hurt his pride, but I think he's happy with the position he's in. He's now in a role of someone like Donald Cerrone or in boxing terms, someone like a journeyman where they've got X amount of wins, X amount of losses. They win here and there. Title wins are not on the table for him. I think Gunnar Nelson capitalizes on that. 2 years out, inactive, but Gunnar Nelson's always never been an active fighter. He's never been anyone like Kevin Holland. So I think Gunnar Nelson does pick up a win here, a submission. I am going to go with that as well. I'm going to go early. I'm going to go round 1 as well. So I think he gets it down in the first round. I'll go for an armbar as well, same as you.
Nice one. Signature armbar coming for Gunnar Nelson. So, co-main event then. Co-main event, we've been around doing some fan content around here, and a lot of people think this is going to be fight the night. 2 smashing light heavyweights going at it. The Polish bar, Jan Blachowicz, taking on a beautiful kickboxer in Carlos Ulberg. I'll let you kick us off with this one, Ben.
I mean, when I first saw this fight made, I was ecstatic. It was on a UK card. We don't normally get these sort of international fights that come here, but when they do, it's a great matchup. I think Carlos Ulberg has such an opportunity here to stake his claim towards a title shot, even with a win here against Blachowicz. Now, for Ulberg, obviously, his debut against Nzechukwu didn't go his way, but now he's 11-1, 7-fight win streak. The last fight I saw him against Özdemir, that's one of the most impressive performances I've had from him because of the stature and how highly I rate Özdemir. He was on a great run himself in going into that fight. So for Carlos Ulberg, I think this is an opportunity for him to scout Jan Blachowicz, who is a legend of the sport now, for 2 years of age, 2 years out the cage with injuries. It doesn't bode well for him. So I think Carlos Ulberg is the man who's going to get this done in the co-main event. We could see a fight at night here. Of course, I think it may be a bit more definitive. I'm leaning towards a knockout, but I think I'll play it safe. I'll go for a decision. I'll go Carlos Ulberg, gets it done 2-1.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. I think you're right in saying it's going to be a tight one. I think it's tight as long as it lasts, but I think Carlos Ulberg kickboxing gets the job done here. I think he gets a finish in round 2. Round 1 is going to be tight. I'm not saying it's going to be a demolition job from Carlos Ulberg, but I think he catches Jan Blachowicz. That's all he needs. That's all he needs. He needs to keep him in kicking range, keep him at his striking range. and catch Jan Blachowicz. And I think he does it in round 2. I think Carlos Ulberg is good enough. He's powerful enough to knock out the Polish power, which we don't say too often. So I'm going to go for Carlos Ulberg round 2 on that one. Moving on to the main event of the night. Bit of a funny one, of course. This was meant to be Jack Della Maddalena. Got changed in for Sean Brady whenever Dana White decided to drop about 10 different bombshells at once. This was one of them. We had a fight, or we had a main card change here at London, of course. So Leon Edwards is now fighting Sean Brady. A bit of a weird one for Leon, isn't it? Because of course he's preparing for a striker and Jack Della Maddalena, and then he's a complete switching styles for and comparing now for Sean Brady.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, no, I think the switch itself, I mean, Sean Brady is a fighter that Leon Edwards was probably prepared for numerous times in the past when it comes to the style of fight. Of course, Jack Della Maddalena originally was the opponent, and it was a fight everyone was looking forward to because of the striking matchup between the two, and it was going to be a predominant striking fight, where Leon is unfortunately recently, he's picked up decisions where people have found him, labelled him boring, point fighting, that sort of thing. A fight with Jack Della Maddalena was promised that wouldn't happen because Jack Della Maddalena would be coming forward and hunting him down himself. There's a possibility that does now, rear its head again, where it is a point fight in Leon Edwards. But I've watched some content from him this week. I've watched his interviews. He seems pissed off. And Bilal Muhammad pisses almost everyone off in the MMA space, but I think Bilal Muhammad is as aggravated Leon Edwards. I'm liking what I'm hearing from him. I think he is a chip on his shoulder. I think he's coming in with a point to prove. I want to see an aggressive Leon Edwards here. I want to see him pushing Sean Brady back. I don't want to see him waiting and point fighting on the outside, because that he could end up in the same position he was in Manchester just under a year ago, where he's getting dumped on his head in his 4th round, and no one knows what's going to happen next for him. So I think for Leon Edwards, he's got to be aggressive in this fight. And then I think he does pick up the victory. I do think Sean Brady is tough. That's weird saying with Bilal Muhammad, he's the one man who has finished him. But I think Sean Brady is tough enough that Leon Edwards won't be able to get him out of there. But I think Leon Edwards will be aggressive. He'll be dominant. And I think I do see a dominant decision for Leon Edwards getting back into championship conversations. Possibly a fight with someone like Ian Gary might have to be next, because Shavkat's obviously in line. But yeah, Leon Edwards I've got in the main event. I reckon 4 rounds to 1, maybe even a 5-0, but I'm expecting a big performance from Leon Edwards here in the O2. Yourself?
I'm going to snap that one. I think Leon Edwards gets a decision here. 4 rounds to 1, 5 rounds to 0.
Yeah.
I think Sean Brady might be able to get a couple of takedowns.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I think we've all seen more of their sort of takedown defense that we've seen against Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. For Leon Edwards, that was completely non-existent against Bilal Muhammad. You can blame whatever you want on that night. The timings was funny for that one. We've heard it, we're watching this here tomorrow night, and Leon Edwards is going to be fighting 9-10 p.m. at night.
Yeah, of course.
When he fought Bilal Muhammad, it was 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Obviously, trying to acclimatise to that when you're fighting in your home country, it's always going to be a weird one. The performance looked flat. He looked like a guy that felt flat. I think we see a rejuvenated and a hungry Leon Edwards tomorrow night, and a different version of him that we've seen in there against Bilal Muhammad. I think he gets a decision win as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to this content. If you enjoy it, make sure to like, share and subscribe to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. We're here on the ground with media passes. We're inside the O2 at the minute as well, getting all great content, interviews with all the fighters. So make sure and follow us on all social medias, and we will see you in the next video.